Okay, for today's video, we're going to go over an item I'm super excited to finally add to my collection, and that is the Dino-Might Groovy Tube Book. So if you don't know, a Groovy Tube Book is an item that came out in, I think, around the early 2000s, and what they consist of is kind of three things. It consists of a book, a tube of figures, and a board game that the figures are like playable pieces in. And the Dino-Might one happens to be one that I really wanted to get for kind of two reasons. Obviously, with me really liking dinosaurs, this would have been one of the two I really wanted to get. The other one being the Gone Extinct, which I already have. But the Dino-Might I kind of already own. So I still do have some of the figures from the time I have owned it. So I've had this at least once when I was little, but lost most of the pieces. Here's some of the ones. So I still have a decent amount of the ones I did own, but I've lost some of them. So here is the Pachycephalosaurus I still have, and here is the Spinosaurus I still have. And a lot of their figures are like just miniatures of some of the safari figures that were out at the time. For example, this Spinosaurus is just a miniature of what was the Carnegie collection one. And some of the other ones just aren't really that good, but I've just personally really wanted to get this because where I owned it when I was little and lost some of the pieces. I don't know exactly what I did with some of them. Either I left them somewhere, gave them to somebody, or they're just somewhere in my house and I'm not sure about, or, I moved when I was little, so maybe one of the other houses I've lived in, I don't have a clue. But, with our smaller figures, it's really easy to lose them, so it's not surprising. But unfortunately, the ones that I did lose were two of the ones that I really wanted, being the Allosaurus and Diplodocus, because I still have, I think, at least one of all the other figures I had. So let's just get right into this. So the Dino-Might one is actually one of the harder ones to get. Most of the other Groovy Tube books you can still get on like eBay and places for reasonable prices. And these are an item that you used to be able to find at places like Hastings, if you know what Hastings is, Barnes & Noble, bookstore type places. They used to have these. And since I'm mainly just going to go over the figures, maybe someday we'll do a gameplay video for this, but really all I want to go over is the figures in it. And we'll kind of just breeze through the book really quick and look at some of the pages. So one nice thing is it does go over all of the figures that you get. So there's an Allosaurus, an Ankylosaurus, an Apatosaurus, a Brachiosaurus, a Dimetrodon, a Diplodocus, an Edmontosaurus, a Pachycephalosaurus, a Parasaurolophus, a Pteranodon, a Spinosaurus, a Stegosaurus, a Styracosaurus, a Triceratops, a Tyrannosaurus, and Velociraptor. A good little group, obviously, a nice bit of diversity. Two aren't dinosaurs, but it makes sense. Pteranodon and Dimetrodon usually get thrown into the dinosaurs type of stuff. So, let's see if there's anything really noteworthy. Well, they do at least have like Dimetrodon in the right place. Artwork's not that bad for, and the Velociraptor's actually feathered in this. I don't believe the feather, or the figure is feathered. But most of the artwork in the book actually looks like fairly nice for time. The Spinosaurus actually looks good in the, like, not horribly off, like, for how old it is. Yeah, the stuff actually does not look that bad. But yeah, let's get into the figures. That's the main thing. I do want to mention, though, I kind of had a tough choice. So I had enough money to buy either this or a lot of Carnegie figures. And the Carnegie figures were probably the better buy. The one thing is, each of the figures in that lot were like ones that you can buy individually, but it was a really good deal. It was like $20 for 8 figures. It was a really good deal. It had a Parasaurolophus, 2 Quetzalcoatlus, 2 Tanystrophes, the old gray and black Carnotaurus, just a regular Safari T-Rex, the Carnegie Spinosaurus, and I think that might have been it. The Carno, the 2 Tannies, the 2 Quetzals, the 2 the 2 sets of 2, the Para, and then the Carno, Spinosaurus, and the T-Rex. But yeah, I ended up not getting that. Ended up selling today, so that was kind of unfortunate. But I did really want this, and I don't know if I'll ever really get the chance to get this again. So let's just dive into the figures. So first we have a Styracosaurus. This one's nose horn kind of got bent, and I'll show why I know that kind of got bent, because that's actually one of the ones that I really like that I still have. Well, if I can find it. Oh yeah, here it is. So here's the one that I've had that has the straight horn. So yeah, that one's just kind of got bent, making it look like an almost different type of Ceratopsian. Then we have this Dimetrodon. Then we have this Triceratops that's really stubby. Then we have a Stegosaurus. Then we have the Ankylosaurus. Oh, here's one of the ones I really wanted to get, the Diplodocus. This is one of the ones that I don't really know what happened to, but I really liked and wish I had another one. Here's that non-feathered Velociraptor I was talking about. Here's the Parasaurolophus. I actually really do like their para. Here's the Pachy. Here is the Brachiosaurus. Here is the Tyrannosaurus Rex. Here is the Apatosaurus. Here we have the Spinosaurus. That one's legs are warped, which kind of makes sense being in a tube and everything. Here's the Edmontosaurus. And here we have the Pteranodon, and this one's kind of got warped as well. I mean, you know, these are really old things, so it makes sense that ones that have been in this circular tube would get warped really bad. Well, that's as good as he's going to get for now. And then we have the one that I probably wanted the most, which was the Allosaurus. And this is pretty much just a miniature of the Safari old Allosaurus, but I don't ever really remember owning this figure, even though I do remember having the Dino-Might thing. But with Allosaurus being my favorite, it was definitely one that I wanted to get a figure of. So yeah, that's all the figures. So I'll kind of go over the problems with most of the figures. So first we'll get into the ones that I can pretty much say are a copy of another brand. So the Styracosaurus is pretty much just a copy of the Safari regular old Styracosaurus. The Allosaurus is pretty much a copy of the old Safari Allosaurus. The Spinosaurus is pretty much a copy of the old Carnegie Spinosaurus. And the ones that are a copy are usually the better ones, I will say. The Brachiosaurus, I'm not for sure is a direct copy of anything. The Pachy's really good, but I'm not actually sure it's a direct copy of anything. The Apatosaurus looks like a Camarasaurus. The Diplodocus really heavily reminds me of the old Carnegie Diplodocus, so I'm going to pretty much put it in the copy section. The Edmontosaurus doesn't really remind me of one, but it's pretty inaccurate. The Rex doesn't really remind me of a specific figure, but it's got its inaccuracies. The Pteranodon kind of reminds me of the Carnegie old Quetzal, but not enough to the point to say it's an exact copy. The Para really reminds me of the old Carnegie Para, but I'm not for sure it's a direct copy as well, but I'll put it in the middle. The Velociraptor doesn't really remind me of a certain figure, but that is a really, really thin skull that's just shaped really weird. And Velociraptor did have a really thin skull, but that's still shaped really weird. The Ankylosaurus doesn't remind me of a direct copy of anything. The Stego, same there. Dimetrodon isn't really. And the Triceratops is a very stubby little Triceratops. But yeah, overall, I actually do really like this, even though most of the figures are really inaccurate. And I would recommend picking it up if you ever get the chance, because it's just a cool little thing, you know. Being a board game, a book, and figures, I got this one for around $25-ish, but and it's not even that's a really expensive item to find, it's just a really hard item to find in general. You can find the book itself for like really cheap, but getting the book with the figures is a little bit of a challenge. But overall, I really liked getting this, and I know this is a thing that is a very niche item, considering most people I'm sure don't even know what this is, but it's an item I'm really glad to add to my collection. And since I don't really know what else to throw into this video, I'll just go over ranking these as far as my favorite to least favorite, just right off the top of my head. So my favorite will be the Allosaurus. So Allosaurus will go first. And obviously, most of my videos are like sort of scripted and like not exactly like word by word, but I'll put in like details of what I want to make sure I remember to say. But this one I didn't do that. And then second, we'll probably put the Diplodocus. Third, we'll put the Styracosaurus. Fourth, we're going to put the Pachy. Fifth, we're going to put the Para. The Para might be over the Pachy. The Para and the Pachy are very close. Then we're probably going to go the Brachiosaurus. I just really like that Brachiosaurus. And then the Spinosaurus, the highly outdated Spinosaurus, that even in their book artwork was accurate. Kind of like the Velociraptor. The artwork for the Spinosaurus was way more accurate in the book, and the Velociraptor was also feathered in the book. I guess we're going to go with the little stubby Triceratops. I don't know why, but I really like that figure. Then we're going to go with the Rex. No, I can't pick that Rex just yet. We're going to go with the Pteranodon, even though he's mega warped and everything. Then we will go the Edmontosaurus, the weird looking Edmontosaurus. Then the Ankylosaurus. Then the Stegosaurus. Then the Dimetrodon. Then we'll go Rexy. And then the two of the worst figures in the set, in my opinion. This Velociraptor, obviously with it not being feathered, and clearly they knew it should have been feathered because the book has it feathered. And then just the skull being that weird shape. And then we have the Apatosaurus, which looks more like a Camarasaurus and then just doesn't look great overall. We'll give the edge to Velociraptor just because I personally like it better than Apatosaurus, but yeah. So that's going to be my ranking. I guess that's really it for this video. I know this is going to be kind of a weird video, and it's very different than most of my content, but yeah. So I'm super glad to add it to my collection, and it's mainly just for the two figures I was missing, being this Allosaurus and the Diplodocus, even though they're pretty much just copies of safari figures, this one being a very reminiscent of the Carnegie old Diplodocus, and this being very reminiscent of the old safari Allosaurus, but definitely glad to add these to my collection. And I would love to know if any of you all own this or have owned this like I kind of did. And if this video does well, I'll go over the Gone Extinct set. But if not, and I would completely understand if this video does not go super well, it probably won't. I might still make that Gone Extinct figure video anyways, and maybe we'll do a gameplay video of this if it does well, but that's a very iffy one that I'm not sure about. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. And we're really close to 50 subs, so if you want to help me get to 50 subs, because I have a really cool video planned for 50 subs, it would be greatly appreciated if you subscribed or liked. And since this video is such a different style of video, if you do like it, it'll help me know that you all want to see more content like this. But you don't have to dislike it, just don't like it if you don't want to see content like this, and it'll just help me know. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'm out.